everyone and welcome back. So today I'm going to film a first impression on these, and these are the newest Kylie Cosmetics products, which are her Kylighters, which launched I believe around 3 weeks ago, but obviously as I live in the UK they've only just turned up. So she launched 6 colours and they were all kind of themed after desserts in terms of the names. I got the 3 lightest shades, which were Salted Caramel, French Vanilla and Cotton Candy Cream, and I have swatched these already, but that's all I've done. I haven't worn them yet or anything, so this is just going to be a first impressions. So these retail for $22 each, which I believe is around £15–17, give or take. But I also know that she's now removed the free international shipping over $60. So if you were to buy these now, you would have to pay the $15 shipping, and also for the 3 I got, I had to pay around £20 custom. So purely because of that, I'm not going to be buying from Kylie Cosmetics for a while, just because I have so many products from her and it does add up in cost. So I've just kind of decided to give all of her newer launches a miss. I'm sorry if it's also really dark, I'm filming late at night. So there's also been quite a bit of drama with these. I know a lot of people's highlighters have been turning up completely empty, and I must admit I was kind of expecting one of mine to be. I kind of find whenever she comes out with a new product, like the first launch, there's always issues. Like for example the lip glosses, there was the issue with the wands. I know a lot of people's Sweet Peach palette had issues with the smell. So I was kind of expecting there to be a few issues with this. And one thing that I have noticed is my Cotton Candy Cream, it has kind of like a label stuck under it. A lot of people are saying that she's basically used old packaging because there's a different name under this. I'm going to set a close up now, but I know a lot of people online have had the same issues. However, she hasn't kind of released anything in this sort of packaging before, so I think it was just they came up with a different name for this product and then they changed their minds, and rather than reprint it they've just put a sticker over it, which is fair enough. And then another thing a lot of people have also commented on, which I must admit my products kind of fell victim to, was there's a lot of like trap dust underneath the stickers on the back, which I'll again insert a close-up of now, which mine isn't too major. I know there's some that are a lot worse. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I think when you are paying $22 for a highlighter, you would kind of like it to look nice and clean. So the packaging itself is kind of simple, so it's just like a glossy box, and then the Kylie logo is just in a matte writing, and then depending on the shade you've got depends on the shade of the box, and then the highlighters themselves pretty much match whatever packaging they've got. I must admit I'm not a massive fan of the packaging. It doesn't look particularly expensive because, like I said, these highlighters, they are quite expensive, but I like that you do get a decent amount of product in them. They are quite weighted. Then they also have like the dripping Kylie Lip Kit logo on them as well, which I think is really nice. Makeup Revolution also have a similar product to this, so once I've tested these for a while I'm going to do a dupe comparison. One thing that I have noticed with these, I'm going to insert swatches of them all now because they're all so similar. I'm not going to go through each one individually, I'm just going to talk about them as a whole. They are really smooth and creamy to apply, but they're not amazingly pigmented, as you'll see from the swatches now. I like much more of an intense highlighter, and I also kind of feel for the price you pay, I kind of wanted these to be a lot more pigmented than they actually were. So that's something to bear in mind. If you like more of a subtle highlighter, I think these would be a great option. However, that being said, there's definitely a lot more subtle highlighters available on the high street that you could go for. But like I said, these are really smooth and buttery to apply. I know a few people said that theirs were quite chalky, and I must admit when I first opened this, the actual close-up of the pan itself, it does almost look quite grainy, but then I haven't had any issues swatching it. They swatch really smoothly and really nicely. So overall, I'm very impressed with these. It's just the pigmentation, like I said, that I'm not a massive fan of. And also another thing, as I'm sure you can see in the swatches, is that these are so similar to each other. Even though I did get the 3 lightest shades and you kind of expect there to be similarities between them, you still expect them to be kind of different enough to justify it, but they just look so similar close together. Even swatching 3 next to each other, they almost look like the same colour. So in that respect, I kind of think that they should have broadened the colour family of the highlighters more. I know that there are 3 other shades available for deeper skin tones, which I think is great, but I kind of think she's kind of tailored to the really light skin tone or the really deep, and there's not really anything in the middle. Because I've basically got half of the range, in theory this should cover kind of like my skin tone and then someone who's kind of like much more of a tan skin tone, but I think even these would be too light for you if you do have a tan skin tone. So that's just something to bear in mind. So hopefully she will expand the range a bit later on. If I had to recommend one, I would say Cotton Candy Cream, because it's much more of a champagne toned highlighter, which is my favourite shade of highlighters. I definitely prefer that to like a true ice white. So this is the one I would say to go for if you're similar skin tone to me and you just want to try one of these. So overall, like I said, they do swatch beautifully. It's just the pigmentation isn't amazing, but they do seem to be buildable. Like I said, I've only actually swatched these. I haven't actually worn them on my face, but I'm going to see how I get on, and if these are similar to the Makeup Revolution one, I'll probably do a dupe video. I kind of hope they are, because these are quite hard to get hold of. But even though I said I'm not going to go through them all individually, I'll just give you kind of like a basic example what the shades are. So Cotton Candy Cream is much more of a champagne colour. French Vanilla is definitely much more of like a yellowy gold colour, but it's still very subtle. And then lastly, the darkest one I have is called Salted Caramel, and it's much more of a browny gold. Even this is very subtle, and I feel like it would suit my pale skin tone. So that was my very quick first impression of the new Kylighters. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.